Hello, it's been a while. Hail to you and welcome to Chuntcast episode 47. I should be on like 68 or something or 100 by now, but life keeps getting in the way, as we all know. I am the king of this realm. For those of you who don't know, Uncle Chunt, that is me. I hope you're all being great ones to you and those that you love and all that good stuff. Just want to say thanks for those who are still keeping in touch with me during this lull period. I've done quite a bit since the last episode, a lot of life happenings and whatnot. So it's good to finally be back and get into this rigmarole, so to speak. Looking forward to it. I've missed this. I've missed the engagement with all of you guys online, my friends online, those of you I've lost touch with. I do apologize. As you know, things do happen, and thanks for all those who have reached out and just ping me every now and then just to see how I'm doing and see where I'm at and, you know, in my absence, so to speak. So I do appreciate that. Hopefully you've all been doing well. Let's just do the normal stuff and get the initials all out of the way. I know I've been away for a while, so it seems a bit silly for me to ask this, but if you could be so kind, just remember to like and subscribe on this channel here and follow me on all my socials. Much appreciated. And you'll see more of a push to join the Chump Core, which is just like what I call those of you who join in what I do here and enjoy the stuff that I put out and the conversation and whatnot. Those of you who've been following on Twitch, I've been doing some artwork over there. I do enjoy the whole Green Lantern concept, so I've just been developing my own. It's pretty cool. If you've seen the artwork that I've shared on Twitch and on my socials, you can see how the progression on that's going. And I look forward to adding it to my videos going forward. But yeah, let's just hit back. Let's just chill out and just chat, and just have a bit of a conversation and catch up. So what have I been up to? Well, look, since last November, I've pretty much been nonstop, very busy with life and everything that's going on. So, you know, what have I done since November? Like I've traveled to Mexico. I've gotten married. I know I probably mentioned that in my last video, but I got married. I was over there for about a month, and then we came back. And then we've just been organising stuff for our new life here, and work's been really busy, like my actual day job. I was very busy, a lot of responsibility there that I need to step up to the plate with, and so far so good. And just, getting to know how to introduce all that into my life and get the life balance happening. This place where I live has changed a lot as well. You can see I've actually invested in some shelves, courtesy of my wife. So it's cool. No more is it just all this junk in the background. There's actually some structure here. So I'm just placing all my Transformer collection behind me here. It looks really cool. And some LED lights, and need to get some risers and stuff for all these things so they can be displayed a lot better. But you can see how it's going there. And just, introducing my wife to my family and doing some traveling up and down the coast. Just taking some time out, enjoying some life. Where I've been working as of January, I hit my 10-year mark there, so I had some long service leave accrued. So I took a month off just from life in general. It was great. And so now it's kind of, all right, let me just reconvene in life and pick up the pieces, and let's just reevaluate and consolidate everything and get back to me again. So this is something I've really missed, this creative outlet, even just getting on stream and just drawing, every night, or not every night, but every night or so I'll hop on if I'm just doodling or whatever. No real rhyme or reason to it. This is, hey, look, I'm just drawing, see if anyone wants to hang out and chat while I do so, listen to some music and just practice my drawing. I'm working on some comic book projects under my own banner, so to speak, that I want to launch eventually. First off is a fan. It's like a fan fiction fan book, just based on the Power Rangers concept. So I'm looking forward to putting that out there. Some of you have already shared what that looks like. So I'm looking forward to it. Good response on that so far. Quite a lot going on in the last handful of months. And I'm glad to be back and just have that conversation again. Like I have a new approach and a bit of insight, and you step away from everything for long enough, and you start seeing things a bit more clearly. Life alignments change, and perspective on things change. And I used to be quite involved and vocal on certain things about what this industry has, like the gaming industry and the pop culture stuff like that. And a lot of it, you think back on it, you're like, man, I was quite vocal, and some of the things I said were, maybe borderline silly, but I did believe in a lot of it, and I still do to an extent. But I think I've just gotten older and wiser, so to speak, on some things. Sorry, I just had Facebook open. It's going to close that. Apologize. And yeah, so you just hop back online and back into the social circles again, and I don't find myself as passionate, I guess, as I used to be, where that kind of stuff ruled my life. That whole aspect of gaming and comic books and movies, and the tribal wars that would go on often. I've kind of just had a better look at it and just gone like, wow, what the hell? Like, it really doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't, but I will kind of still engage in stuff that I enjoy. And that's kind of what my new take is on doing this content, is just talk about what I enjoy, not so much complaining and whinging about stuff or calling out bullshit. If I really feel like it, I will. But for the most part, it's just being frank and just honest and just talking about what I like and what I enjoy. Cover things that I'm up to, or promote some of the stuff that I'm doing, and just check in with you guys every week. I'm really looking forward to that. So on that kind of a note, so what stuff have I been enjoying lately? Well, just in recent history. Half the reason why I'm popping on tonight to do this video is because I was lucky enough to get engaged and invited amongst the Transformers community, leading up to the Transformers Rise of the Beast screening window that came up. So an opportunity came around where Jason Murray, bless him, reached out and asked if he could forward my details over to Hasbro and Paramount. They're looking for some Brisbane contacts here, and my name came up, and they said they're aware of my presence and aware to them of what I do and who I am, and as a fan of Transformers. And so that was great. I didn't expect anything to come around for that, but lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, I had an email from Paramount inviting me to this event. So June 8 was the preview screening for Transformers Rise of the Beast. And I attended that, which was great. The movie in Australia got pushed back until June 22nd. So I'm quite lucky. One of the handful of people across the country that got to see the movie ahead of time for anyone else. So I just thought I'd just talk about that and, my involvement in Transformers, and, why is that important, right? So I'll just flick over to this screen here. So this is me on the blue carpet, right? So let me just talk about what happened. So I was driving over to the event, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really get a heads up on what was happening. I thought it was just going to be, hey, we'll all turn up in this room. They'll just talk to us a little bit about the movie, and then we'll go in and we'll watch it, and then afterwards we'll come out and discuss it or whatever. But yeah, it was a full-on event, like a pre-screening event. So I turn up to the event on the top parking lot, right at the back entrance to where the cinema is, and there was like a Bumblebee Camaro, however you say that, being loaded up, and there was this backdrop that I'm standing in front of with a blue carpet, and beside that there's a Porsche, so the Mirage Porsche in the movie, which don't even get me started. Those of you who know Transformers way back when, the Porsche was jazz back in G1 days. In this movie, they've got Mirage being the Porsche. It is what it is. So yeah, and I was just watching them set up, and I just walked up to a couple of them because I couldn't see my way through to the cinema area. I didn't know where the hell I was going. I don't frequent, or I don't think I've ever been to that section of Brisbane before. So I just walked up one of the dudes at the Camaro and I was like, hey, look, I'm here for the screener. Don't know where I'm going. So can you point me in the right direction? How do I get through here? Because it's all sectioned off with, a barricade and all that kind of stuff protecting the equipment. And, there's a DJ getting set up. And anyway, they pointed me in the right direction. I went through and got down through to walk through the cinema area a bit. up to where they were checking all the screener people in. There was a desk there and a couple of girls there was checking people in, taking your name and your handle and all that kind of stuff. And then, they give you a stamp as like an Autobot stamp. That was cool. And, if you're under 18, you'd get this blue strap. And then you just line up, leading out towards the back area where I was just talking about. And, they've got music happening and, they got some like a promotional beverage tent there. And what I said, a DJ, I think I just said that, DJ across the way playing some music. And just a couple barrels where you could stand at and people walking around serving little finger food type deal. And it was a cool atmosphere. And shortly after I got there, more people started coming in. So I got there quite early. You just walk around and say good day to a couple of people. I didn't know anyone there. But you start to realize the longer that you're there, the influencer types start turning up, and they're not there for the movie. They're just there to get a photo op, to make it look like they're attending something, and it is what it is, like posing up a storm. And there was a bumblebee walking around, which was cool. So I got a couple of photos of that thing. That was really cool to see. A lot of effort put in that costume. So whoever that was in there, like amazing work. It's really super cool. But yeah, I mean, no shade to anyone that was there. It's just you could just tell people that were like all really well dressed up that were there for just the Instagram photos. And you could tell there was also a lot of fans there because they all like just wore Transformers shirts and their helmets, and they did invite a lot of actual fans to these screening events. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave this one up because I think it's pretty cool. He's looking right at the camera with his gun there. So yeah, I walked around, got a couple of photos, got a couple of photos of the Porsche. I didn't think to post it online, but I did take some video and posted it to Instagram as well. So be sure to follow my Instagram for all that kind of stuff. Anyway. But yeah, it was a cool vibe, man. Everybody was really in a good mood. I don't think many people knew each other there. At least a couple of people came up to me and was asking like who I am and what do I do, and I told them about it and how I got here and like that I'm a fan and all this kind of stuff. And there's one dude walking around with a camera who was filming the whole event. I was having a beer from the promotional tent. And he goes, hey, you look like someone that we could probably get on this video that can handle a beer really well. And, do you mind just, hamming it up a bit? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So, he did the whole thing where I'd hold the can to the camera and then take a sip and pose up a storm and make it look like it was really good, holding the can so you could see the logo at the camera side. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was good times. And then, I kind of got a bit over it. About 45 minutes of that, just walking around saying g'day to random people or people coming up saying g'day, who am I, all this kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna line up for the movie so I can get a good seat. And I kind of got it there in the right time because as soon as I lined up out the front with leading into the actual cinema room where they were screening the movie, shortly after that, everyone started lining up and it was going all the way back. So I was able to get in there and get a pretty good seat right smack dab in the middle of the cinema. So yeah, I guess this just leads me into, so what did I think of the movie, right? I said I posted online after I got back from that showing that I'd do a review this weekend. So here we are. So we'll talk about it. So just to preface this, nobody really kind of knows where this movie sits in the timeline of this franchise, this live action movie franchise. So for those of you who are unaware, Michael Bay started this movie line in about 2007 from memory. And the first movie was, I heard someone say it quite well just recently. The first movie was not the movie that we wanted, but the one that we needed at the time, right? Transformers was in a really kind of interesting stage or phase of its life cycle around that time where it just really wasn't doing too well. And, toy sales were kind of down, and the identity of the franchise and the brand was a bit all over the shop. And then this movie comes out and just blows it out of the water, and it's the biggest thing on the planet for a while, and toy sales are just immense, and It's $1 billion franchise. Like every movie is like $1 billion, this kind of stuff. So, with that success, the toys got better, and you lead up to the collection that I started collecting around 2019. So there's a bit of a gap there from 2007, 2019, where all these other movies came out that Michael Bay pushed out. Some of them were really swings and misses. I think I can safely say that the first Michael Bay movie and the Bumblebee movie that came out, 5 years ago, or however long ago that was, those two are the only ones that are really worth watching. All the other ones, the other 4 or 5 of them, were all just not really worth your time. There was some cool action set pieces, but the rest of it is just trash. The dialogue is crap. The continuity was all over the shop. Some movies will contradict the others in big ways, but it is what it is, right? So COVID happens, and this movie was supposed to come out like a year or two ago, roundabouts there, but it got delayed for obvious reasons. But here we are. We're finally here, and I noticed straight away that a lot of the conversation when this movie was announced, that no one in the production team or the director or the whoever could actually acknowledge whether this was a sequel to the Bay film timeline, or whether this was a prequel to the Bay films, or whether this was a sequel to the Bumblebee movie, which that Bumblebee movie doesn't really sit in continuity with the Bay films either. So it's a bit of a mess right now. I guess if you're going into this movie and you've seen the Bumblebee movie, just consider the Bumblebee movie the start of something new, right? If you really want to, just consider that just flat out, just a soft reboot of the entire franchise, and this is a sequel to Bumblebee. It's probably the best way I could describe it, because they do reference the Bumblebee film very, very softly. They reference that movie, so at least you get an idea of where this sits. Just forget about all the other Michael Bay films. This is set in 1994 specifically, this one, and the Bumblebee movie set before then, I think late 80s. And so if you can consider the Michael Bay film starting in 2007 canonically, that they've got a lot of time between Rise of the Beast and 2007, from 94 to 2007, to fill in a gap there. So I guess that's how they're going to get around it. I'm personally okay with that. I'm totally okay with them just forgetting about the Michael Bay films, because let's face it, yes, they made a lot of money. Yes, they helped the Transformer brand. Yes, they helped the recognition of Transformers for a bunch of generations, right? But you're not really going back to watch them unless you just want to turn your brain off for 3 hours and watch some shooty bang bangs with some CG robots and some really bad human characters. Anyway, so Rise of the Beast. Let's start just with my overall feeling on it. I think this is definitely a swing in the right direction of where they need to go. They had a really healthy balance of Transformers to human ratio, where that's always been the criticism of the other films, where there's just too much human, too many human characters just doing stupid slapstick stuff or just not making sense. And when the robots are on screen, it's just a lot of action and violence and explosions and stuff, which sounds good on paper, but man, you don't understand the characters. Like the Transformers never had a chance to really flesh out their characters. Whereas this one, there was a healthy balance where you would have a human-related scene and a Transformers-related scene, a human-related scene, a Transformers-related scene. And it was just giving both chance to, let us understand who the human characters are and get them. And then we have a chance to kind of understand what the Transformers are doing in this time, what the whole story is of them in this movie, and what the threat is, what the challenge is, and how they can help each other between Transformers and humans. I thought that really had a healthy balance this time around, and I just hope the next film they don't upset that balance. If this movie does well, like I have no idea, this could just do nothing, and we won't get another one. But there's a planned trilogy here, apparently. More on that later. But yeah, if this one succeeds, I'd like to see just that balance kept. If anything, more Transformers. I enjoyed the human aspect of this film. I enjoyed the human characters in this film. There's no such thing as a Sam Witwicky in this type of film. None of that at all, which I was really happy about. There's no no weird little man running around saying no, 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 no all the time and screaming at everything and whatever else that Sam Witwicky used to do, and none of that Michael Bay kind of stupid characterizations going on. It took itself seriously when it needed to, but you understood the stakes of what the human characters were risking and needing, and you understood what the Transformers were risking and needing. And then when they came together to help each other out in some aspects, you kind of go, all right, that kind of makes sense. A leap or less that you needed to take. But yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to see what they do with the next one. The title character, but the main character in the human side of things, Noah, I think he did a really good job at taking this movie franchise, I'll say, just the movie franchise, in a different direction where I think it needed to go, where it kind of grew up a little bit. You know, the character, he was he's having a bit of a hard time in life, and he's actually got some serious things on his plate to handle. He's not a joke of a character at all, and you kind of feel for the guy in some aspects. And this opportunity comes along, and you kind of believe, or it's kind of they make it a bit believable that you would kind of understand how this guy would make the decisions that he does towards himself, his family, and the Transformers. Optimus Prime in this film is, if you've seen Bumblebee, you can understand his characterization in this film, where he seems a bit down on himself and beat up, and he feels responsible for the situation that they're in. I won't say too much there, but there's room here in this movie for his character to develop, right? So I look at this Optimus Prime as a different one to the Michael Bay ones. The producer, the producer of this film, he would often say, "Oh, just think of like this is the Prime before he became the 2007 Optimus Prime," you know. But everybody knows that 2007 and onwards Optimus Prime is this like murder machine. He's pretty brutal and ruthless at times, but this Optimus Prime is a bit more reserved and a bit more centered. He's trying to find himself and understand the situation that they're in and how they can get back to Cybertron, and I really like that. There were a couple of things that I didn't really get, or I didn't quite appreciate. Some of the script that they gave Optimus Prime and in Peter Cullen's voice, I'm just not used to that. But at the same time, given the circumstances, I could probably get it if I was in Prime's shoes at that point. But yeah, overall, I really dug Optimus Prime in this movie. I just wish we get more Prime, like just more time with Optimus Prime to understand what he's doing and what his plan is and all that. There's just, I get it. They need to split the time up between the other Transformers and Autobots and the Terracons and the Predacons and the Decepticons, that every cons or whatever that are in this movie. But anyway, Mirage. Let me just touch on Mirage. He's the comic relief type. He's the Bumblebee replacement, so to speak, in this film. And I had my reservations going in. I really did, because I'm not that big of a fan of what's his name, Pete Davidson, whatever his name is. He went out with that singer chick. I can't remember what her name is. Anyway, Pete Davidson, I believe. And I was like, oh God, all right, cool. All right, no worries. I don't really think much of him. I don't know him, but anyway, I just don't really like the dude for some reason, or whatever he's perceived as online. But I will say, props to him. He did a really good job, at being this kind of Mirage character, where he's the on that picture you can see on screen there on the far right. He's that blue character standing next to RC there, and did a really good job. I found the movie to be, it would have been a bit lacking had it not had Mirage in it. I'll say that. Like he connected you to the Transformers, and he connected you to the human character as well. Without him, there'd be a big chunk of that movie lost. And again, respect to Pete Davidson for bringing that. He did a really good job, voice acting, I guess, in the role. And I look forward to see what he does next. Who knows? Like, I'm not going to say anything here, but what's going to happen in the next one? For those of you who've seen it, there's some things that happen with some Autobots in this where they leave a lot in the air as to like, well, who's this particular role now? Now this character's here, and Yeah, it shakes up the status quo a little bit. RC has a couple of cool combat moments. There's some stuff in the trailers I also noticed that aren't in the finished film. Some action shots for RC were removed. There's a whole scene with RC's interaction with the female lead that aren't there. A couple action shots for other characters aren't in it. I know that for a fact that this movie that we got, this is kind of like another, I don't want to say it, but this is kind of like another Zack Snyder's Justice League scenario where partway through production, certain angles, which I'm not going to say because it might spoil your perception of the film when you go in, but there's certain things that were revised, removed and rewritten when certain people were off the project and when COVID happened and then rewrites occurred. And you can see that in some pre-release footage that came out and some of the earlier trailers. There are some things that are going around that aren't in the final product. And it's a certain key storyline that ties it to the Michael Bay films that was totally scrapped. But you can still kind of see traces of what that potentially would have been in the final product. But anyway, without knowing any of that, this is more or less a completely cohesive film to understand. Bumblebee is Bumblebee. I'm not going to spoil anything for Bumblebee, but I never really liked this Bumblebee. Just the whole voice box radio talk thing is a bit of a gimmick. I don't really like it. Yeah, I hope they do away with that. Like, this is a perfect example of Bumblebee in the Michael Bay movies got his voice back at the end of one of the movies. And then in the very next movie, that's all gone. Like, no one mentions anything about it again. So here we are. This is the Bumblebee that we have. The Maximals and the Predacons. Okay, so I would have liked a bit more time with them. The movie opens up with them, and then there's a large portion of the film where you just don't see them again. But when they come back, it's when the movie starts really coming together and moves along at a good, healthy pace. I hope they do more with them in the next one. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but I just wish that we had a bit more time with them in their alternate modes, right? So if you see this poster here with the beast form, so you got Optimus Primal, Airazor, Rhinox, and Cheetor. If you want to see them looking any different than that, then you've got a whole bit of like 2 seconds of footage of maybe like 5 to 10 seconds of, and that's being generous, of them in their transformed modes, like running around in combat and doing cool stuff. The vast majority of the remainder of the time with the beast characters, that's what they look like. So I was a bit disappointed in that. You don't really get to understand those characters too well, except maybe one of them, for obvious reasons. So I'd like to see that explored a bit more in the next one if we get one. The villains. Look, I think Peter Dinklage did a good job at playing Scourge, or Scourge, depending on how you want to pronounce it. He did as good as he could with what he had. Again, you don't really get to understand why this character is doing what he's doing, but his presence was felt. He's a pretty badass character, and I think they pulled it off with what they had very, very well. His minions, or his side characters, Nightbird and Battletrap, they look cool. I really like their designs. They look really cool. And the good thing about this film compared to the Michael Bay films, you see how much color is in that? Like, there's a lot of color in these characters, and you can tell who's who, right? More so the Autobots and the Terracons and the Predacons, or whatever you want to call them, to the Beast characters there, where the Beast characters still kind of verge on that kind of browny gray. I guess that's just the nature of those characters in this universe. But the Autobots and the bad team, like, there's a mixture of Decepticons and Terracons on that team, so I don't really know what to call them. But Scourge's team, I'll just say, all have a bit of color to them, so you can identify who's who on the screen with all the stuff going on, which is really good. Like, Nightbird's got a lot of purple, this really cool shade of purple going on, and Battletrap's got this kind of yellow-orange character style going on. Scourge is just this dark gray character with this glowing kind of orange eyes stuff going on. It looks really cool. But he ties directly into Unicron. right? So you've seen in the trailers, this isn't a spoiler, but Unicron is in this film. To what degree, I'm not going to spoil, but I really enjoyed what they did, and it does really set up for another film or two, depending what happens. His Scourge is kind of like, if you've seen the 1986 animated film, Scourge's character is essentially what happens with Galvatron in that film. So he's tied directly to Unicron as his herald to go after the MacGuffin of this film. And I really like that. They handled it really well. You kind of felt, as little presence as he had, you kind of felt Unicron's presence. And I liked how they handled that. And how they tied Scourge and his interactions with Unicron. I really liked how they did that as well. It's all in his mind, and there's a shot where he's freaking out under Unicron's influence, and you can see what Scourge is seeing, and it's all this epic stuff. And then it cuts to a shot with Scourge like floating in the air, freaking out, while Nightbird and Battletrap are standing there watching him. Just as like, you'd just be watching me. Nothing weird going on around him except for Scourge floating in the air screaming. So that was kind of cool. You get a bit of an insight there. The third act was pretty damn awesome, I'll say. I'm not going to spoil anything there, but that's when the movie gets like super cool. And I did have a couple of moments where I did get some goosebumps. I was like, okay. I was waiting for it the whole movie. I was like, this movie's kind of not. I was like, this is the film. Hey, this is the movie. I was kind of a bit ho-hum throughout most of it. There's a couple of cool things happened beforehand, but the third act in particular, and like the little final tease of the film, that whole spans of the movie made it worth it. I did have a couple of moments of goosebumps there, so I was like, all right, you got me. Cool. Definitely picking up the 4K Blu-ray. So yeah, look, without going into too much detail, some of the negatives, I guess I already kind of mentioned. I wish we had more time with the Maximals, and hopefully we get to see some Predacons, some actual Predacons next time around. Less human interaction would be great, considering what they're doing. And I say that with my knowledge, knowing what happens in the film. I just hope the next movie is dedicated more to the Transformers, and there's going to be more of a human-based film after that. I don't know, not spoiling much. Just give us more time to understand the Transformers lore, and more time with the Transformers in general, like how it ties to Unicron, how they know about Unicron, and how are they stuck here? Like, is the Bumblebee movie, the Cybertron scenes in the Bumblebee movie, is that what actually happens? Like, how does it all tie together? That's what I want to know more about. Where are the Predacons? Like, what happened on that first planet at the start of this movie? Who else was there? Like, there's a lot of questions that I need personally answered that they kind of missed the mark on. How does Primal know Prime? Like, they just kind of, there's this assumed background knowledge that's going on. Like, how do they know each other to some degree? And it's really difficult to explain all this without spoiling things for you. But they're minor nitpicks at best. There's a couple cheesy moments, but they work. The humor works when it needs to. It doesn't really waste your time here, where a lot of the other Transformers movies, and even like the most popular movies these days, the Marvel films, a lot of the humor in those are really out of place. And the serious moments in this movie allows it to be serious, and there's no quips to kind of cut the tension like the Marvel films do, which I really appreciated that. So yeah, look, all in all, really positive. I think this is the best step this movie franchise has had in many, many years. So let's keep going with that. Let's run with what they've built here. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next film comes, and how this trilogy builds itself out. I really hope it does well, because I want to see what they do with it. And we've got Transformers 1, which is an animated movie coming out next year, which I'm not too sure if that ties into this timeline or not. But I'd like to see what happens there. Like, does that answer these questions that I have? Like, that one is based on Cybertron, and it's before Optimus becomes Optimus, and you see that build up to him becoming Optimus Prime and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that might answer some of those questions. Seeing more of Cybertron, which is what us fans have been wanting to see for a long time. So I reference that because the Bumblebee film, the best 5 minutes of that film are the ones that are the Cybertron flashback scenes. If you've seen those, you know what I'm talking about. The rest of the movie I could skip. So let's see more of that. That'd be awesome. Excellent. Anyway, in Australia, this movie comes out June 22nd. And I've left my photo of myself up there for way too long. So yeah, anyway, once you guys get to go see it, those of you in Australia, when you go see it, or if you did end up going to one of these invite-only sessions, let me know. Let me know what you thought. Like, just comment down below if you need to. I'd be interested to see what you thought of it. I'm very positive about this film. Like I said, very much looking forward to it. I'm probably going to go see it again. I'll take my wife when the movie launches properly in Australia. It's unfortunately delayed behind the rest of the world. But anyway, that's another discussion. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on to the next topic. And we'll try and wrap this one up a bit earlier for this one, for the first one back. So let's do that now. Excellent. It gives me a little bit of a break, just to the least. That was a lot of talking all at once. And a quick sip of this drink here. So for those of you who know, I've got this, that Xbox mini fridge that they sold a while ago. Excuse me. It's not really a mini fridge. It's more like it literally is just a cooler. Like, it's not a fridge. It's not a refrigerator. So there's a bit of false advertising there. I've got about a case or a fridge mate. In Australia, a fridge mate is just like a small slab of cans, a case of 10 cans. You can only fit 8 of them, 8 cans in this thing all at once, the way how I've got it anyway, but it does a good job at cooling them. I came in here tonight. I'm going to turn it off now the weekend's done. But over the weekend, sometimes I like to just throw some cans in here and I'll come and go as I please over the weekend and work on some stuff. And I've got some cans in this fridge as I go, and I leave it turned off for the rest of the week. But it does a good job at handling the cooling of the cans. So when you do get around to taking a can out, it's chilled. It's quite chilled enough for me anyway. But yeah, anyway, anything I need to tell myself to justify the purchase of this Xbox mini fridge. Anyway. So over the weekend or Friday night, even in Australia time, I watched and caught up with the Summer Game Fest. So those of you who are in the gaming space will know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't, so Jeff Keighley, he's kind of taken the reins for this Christmas period, so to speak, this gamer Christmas period that used to be E3. So E3, as we all know, was an annual event, which was like the Gamers Christmas, where we saw all the big news, all the big highlights, all the big reveals, and it kind of fell off over the years and got worse and worse, and over COVID it just killed itself. So now we've got Jeff Keighley picking up the pieces, and he's built his own event, and it is what it is now. That's essentially, I guess you can call it. E3 is literally dead, and Summer Game Fest is the new E3. So there was a bunch of reveals that occurred, some big ones, most of it I didn't really care for. I'm looking forward to, as I'm recording this, it's a Sunday night here in Australia. 3 a.m. Monday morning is the Xbox event. So I'm probably not going to watch that live, but depending on how tired I am, I might get a couple hours sleep and then wake up and watch it and then go back to sleep again for a couple of hours and go to work. We'll see how dedicated I am to that. Anyway, but I'm just really excited. I'm looking forward to that. Xbox needs to really, really show, excuse me, all that soft drink. Xbox really needs to show what they've been working on. Even me, those of you who know me, you know how basically diehard Xbox fan I am, even unapologetically so. But even me, I'm just like, damn, like they've got some work to do. It's been years. I think Gears of War 5. Gears of War 5 is pretty much the last Xbox exclusive IP that I've really been excited about, that really hit at home. I lie. Forza Horizon 5. I really enjoyed that too, but see, even then, that's it. Like they messed up Halo Infinite, and every other kind of IP or exclusive that they've put out has just been leftover stuff from studios that they've acquired, right? And they've just put these games out that those studios have been trying to work on in the meantime. The budgets haven't been there and the support hasn't been there. So Xbox acquires these studios and they're just putting out those games that these studios have been working on while all these studios are working on new games. And as you all know, COVID happened and games take years to make, right? So there's this massive lull period where Xbox doesn't seem like, at least optically, doesn't seem like they're really doing much with the billions of dollars that they've spent on acquiring all these studios. And yes, at the time of this recording, there's the whole thing up in the air of the Activision Blizzard acquisition that's taken months and months to go through and challenged. So what do we do in the meantime? Right. So me as an Xbox gamer for years, like since the original Xbox, what do? I just kind of enjoy catching up on my backlog, and I've been buying more Nintendo platform games or games that are on Nintendo Switch than like lately. In the last couple of years, I've bought more Switch games than I have Xbox games. So I'm laying the picture here of what my expectations are and where I'm standing, right? So I've finally got the chance to catch up on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's where I am right now. I'm about 40 something hours into it. So yeah, that's how far back my backlog goes, and I've still got more to go. So the fact that there's not many games coming out for me personally doesn't really worry me too much, but I do enjoy still getting caught up on what the game reveals are, right? And just to know what's coming, right? Because it still excites me, even though my life doesn't really allow for a lot of time anymore to kind of lose myself for 100 hours into a game. But I'm becoming more specific and selective in the games that I choose to purchase and spend my time in. So what did they reveal that I'm excited about? I won't be playing many trailers here because I don't want to get flagged or anything. So you're just going to have to put up with my face and what I'm talking about. So they revealed a lot of stuff on that event. I'm not going to go by a play-by-play, but Mortal Kombat 1. So I really enjoyed Mortal Kombat 9, X, and 11. 11 particularly was just such a showcase of what NetherRealm Studios is capable of doing, and it's just the gold standard, I feel anyway, of presentation, how a fighting game is in the modern era, offering a very fleshed out cinematic story mode. The gameplay modes alone were cool. I do wish they would go away from the gear system and all that kind of stuff. I'm over it. Even in Injustice 2, I was pretty much sick of it then. But by and large, Mortal Kombat 11 is the gold standard as far as I'm concerned. So I didn't know what they were going to do for MK1, right? Mortal Kombat 11 essentially reboots the entire timeline of Mortal Kombat, the whole series. So Mortal Kombat 1, that's why it's called Mortal Kombat 1, is this new timeline that Liu Kang, as the god of fire, he rebuilt this universe and rebooted everything. So this is our first introduction to what this new universe is going to look like. So just from a story standpoint alone, I'm already invested because I want to see what happens. And I do enjoy playing Mortal Kombat. It's fun, it's frantic, it's brutal. The fatalities are awesome. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. They did a really great showing. They showed you some of the cinematics. They showed you a lot of gameplay. They showed you what the new systems are for the most part. There's more to come, but they showed enough to really give us a good understanding of what that game's going to be. And unfortunately, a lot of the roster and the DLC stuff has already been leaked by Amazon. So we already know what the DLC characters and the guest characters are, unfortunately. And I did see an interview with Ed Boon, the Mortal Kombat creator or co-creator, where he was asked about that. You could see how just down he was about it, understandably, because they've hidden this secret of this game for 4 years, right? And then like a month, maybe a month or a few weeks before this event, the whole roster gets leaked, and it's just, I could imagine how disheartening that is by having everything kept a secret for that long, right up until near the final moment, and it's all out there. That must be very much a kick in the guts, as working on the game for 4 years. Oh man, I feel for the guys over there that working on games that where this happens, where you spend a good 4 or 5 years of your life and you want it to be a surprise, and then it just takes one person to make a mistake somewhere and it's all out there. But anyway, it doesn't stop the fact that this game it's already proving what the quality is, and that it's going to reset the standard again, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Street Fighter 6 aside, I'm at the moment more inclined to play Street Fighter 6 from like a gameplay element rather than Mortal Kombat. So I don't know what the story is for Street Fighter 6. The Street Fighter story's been kind of all over the shop for many, many years anyway. But the Street Fighter 6 World Tour mode, where you get to create your own character and you get to study and learn, and underneath all the other popular big Street Fighter characters, and you get to do some RPG elements and like that kind of stuff. I'm more excited to play that than play Mortal Kombat at the moment. But I'm more interested in Mortal Kombat's story than Street Fighter's. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Where to put my coin. Anyway, what's yours? Are you a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat player? You tell me. After that, the only thing I could think of that really stood out to me for Summer Game Fest. Not every game's for me. That's fine. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it didn't really interest me. But the Spider-Man 2 release date, October 20th, that was apparently a big moment that everybody got excited about. And I was like, all right, that would have been cool had they backed it up with some new gameplay. I mean, they just showcased the game on the PlayStation Showcase a week beforehand or so. And this, I mean, I don't really see this as a get moment for Jeff. So what? You got a release date for Spider-Man 2. Awesome. Cool. Like, I guess the news of that date announcement includes your name and Summer Game Fest in it. Whatever. Bragging rights, is that, I don't know. I just didn't really see that as a moment. I mean, it could have just been a tweet or a press release and that's it. But they used a lot of time, like a good chunk of time, to just say a release date on the stage there. But anyway, the only other one that kind of interested me was there's the Prince of Persia Lost Crown, I think it was called. It's this reboot or a reimagining of Prince of Persia. That looked kind of cool. I'm thinking it might be like a Metroidvania. They showed some gameplay reveal in that trailer, but the art style was kind of cool, but it just looks like it's I don't know. I don't want to sound mean about it, but I don't see myself picking that up. As cool as it was to see Prince of Persia coming back, this is not how I imagine it. It looks a bit too fantastical for me. Like I always saw Prince of Persia as a bit of a, even though it is a fantastical story, just think I saw it more grounded than what that trailer is. If you saw the gameplay trailer, you know what I'm talking about. They're leaning right into like the supernatural kind of magic stuff, which that's cool. Whatever. I'd be more inclined to, if they just remade the Sands of Time trilogy, I think that'd be a better bet than this one, but who knows? Whatever. Cool. Anyway, moving on. Alan Wake 2, I don't really care for. I mean, that gameplay trailer didn't really do much for me either. And they spent quite a lot of time just with Jeff talking to that bloke on stage with no kind of footage backing up what they're saying. It was just like, oh, cool. We just spent 5 minutes watching two people talk about this game. And they weren't really saying too much that was important. So I think that was just a lot of wasted time, to be honest. Sam Lake, I believe his name is. Jeff and Sam were just sitting there talking. Anyway, waste of time. Sonic Superstars. Now, this is something I'm really excited about. The Sonic Superstars. When they first, and I guess this was by design, when they first showed the trailer for it, it showed like the old like Sonic Mania type look, like the pixel art type look. And the screen is split into this new modern 3D side-scrolling art style, and he's kind of the flipping back and forth, and we don't know what that is until the game starts revealing itself properly. And it's the first, like literally the first Sonic 4 and Sonic 4 2. I don't don't even get me started on that. Those don't exist as far as I'm concerned. So for me, Sonic Superstars is the first of the modern era where they've taken the 2D Sonic concept with modern graphics, and they've matched the two as best as possible. There's a lot of people that are involved in this game that actually love Sonic and want to do good, and a lot of fingers in the pie from Sonic Mania and Generations are a part of this movie, part of this game. So I'm very much excited for this one. It's on my must-get list when that comes out. It's a 4-player game, which I'm happy I can play it with my wife when it comes out. And there's a new character that one of the original designers of Sonic the Hedgehog and Eggman has designed for this game as well. So there's a lot of care and love that's put in this game. T. Lopes, he's doing some music for this game as well, and he helped out on a lot of the Sonic Mania soundtrack. So, and they've confirmed that all the levels are new. Like, they're not just rehashing old levels like Green Hill Zone and Chemical Planet and all that kind of stuff. It's all new levels, which is great. I've made that comment in every Sonic game that's come out in the last 25 years or so. They just keep rehashing the same stuff. So very much looking forward to that. Fortnite trailer for Transformers crossover. I did put a tweet out saying, I'm not going to play Fortnite because of this again. Like they got me when they did Marcus Phoenix and Master Chief, and I played Fortnite for a little bit. I've never bought a battle pass in my life for Fortnite. But yeah, unfortunately they got me with this one. I bought the battle pass for Fortnite, and with the extra V-Bucks, I got the Optimus Primal skin and bundle thing where you get his weapons and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to manage to get Optimus Prime, the Optimus Prime skin and all this stuff. It's like level 95 or something, 94. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I need to play. I have to grind this game a lot to get there. So who the hell knows if I'm ever going to get that. But they got me. That's cool to see. I guess the hype got me with, the movie. I found the movie to be successful, and I'm glad that I enjoyed the movie. And I came home, and I've been looking at all my Transformers here, and I'm really enjoying a lot of Transformers and the comic books, and I thought stuff at whatever, like whatever. It'll give Fortnite. This will give me an excuse to kind of have a game where I can just jump in and out, where I don't need to do a time sink of a game. If I just want to turn my brain off and just play some shooty bang bangs in a fun little game, cool, whatever. They got me. All right, well done. I will say though, the human proportion size Optimus Prime looks a bit goofy. It looks like someone in a cosplay suit, but I guess that was the point. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah, that'll be. If you see me online playing Fortnite, then that's why. The Dead by Daylight reveal announcement where they had Nicolas Cage as coming on as a playable character in that game. Like I'm not a fan of these Dead by Daylight type games. Like at this survival, isometric survival game, whatever it is, not my deal. I've tried it. My wife and I tried playing one of them. This one, in fact, and it was a bit cheap, a bit buggy. Wasn't really the prettiest game, but anyway, I understand its appeal. I understand people love that game. I understand a lot of people on Twitch play it. And it was just cool to see Nick Cage come out. I don't know if he really enjoyed himself out there. There was a shot like when he was walking off the stage, like you could tell. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but you can tell when he walked off stage, you can kind of see his face, and he was smiling and laughing with Jeff. And then he turned around and started walking off, and his face has dropped and like just went into like kind of. I might be seeing something that's not there, but I couldn't help but think he was just bunging it on, whatever. But he did good. He's a great actor. If he was enjoying himself, I'm happy for him. If he wasn't, he was doing a good job in convincing myself at the moment that he was enjoying it. But I mean, that's cool. He knows. I'm sure he knows that he's aware that he's a meme. Because when they announced he was in this game, you could hear the crowd laughing and stuff like that. And I hope he's a good sport about it. I hope he leans into it. That he just, he knows he's a meme, and that's what he is. Unfortunately, better or worse in today's world. But otherwise, I don't think there was much else that was announced. I'm just scrolling through a list just for a reminder. Space Marine 2, I'm looking forward to that. That's a Warhammer game. Yeah, it's about it. Everything else was kind of like meh for me. Like I just, there's so many games, and it sounds like it's a real first world problem, and it is. There's so many games to play. You just don't have a lot of time. Oh wait, no, I lie. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh my god. Okay, so let me just talk about this game. So I recently finished Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was one of the few times I've actually used my PS5. I played that game and I loved it. Man, is that just an immaculately labor of love, I want to say. Like, I can't speak enough about that game. Final Fantasy VII Remake was a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned, down to everything. Like, the combat was fun. It's a stunning looking game. Even on the PS4, it's stunning. Like, it's probably one of the best, if not the best looking game outside of Horizon Zero Dawn on that platform. The music was just incredible. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how layered that story is. Those of you who have played the original game just know that this remake is a legit sequel to the original PS1 game. And if that makes you go, what? Like, that's the story, right? That's you need to look at it that way, where there's some things that happen in that game that reference the first game in a way that you wouldn't expect, and signals the future in a way that you wouldn't expect. This Final Fantasy remake is not. It's not a remake of what you know. It's not. It's literally. It's not as straightforward as that. It's like you can't take it how you know what a remake is, of literally just taking a pre-existing game and remaking it. No, like it's literally like remaking the timeline, so to speak. And anyway, without nerding out too much about it, I'm happy to see that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out early 2024, and it's on 2 discs, even though like I got a digital PS5, whatever. But it just shows how massive this next game is going to be. I mean, the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think it's like 100 and something gigabytes already. So if this next one, man, if that's on 2 Blu-ray discs, like I'm probably going to have to invest in an actual memory upgrade from my PS5 just to store the game. But man, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm going to make sure that I clear as much of my backlog that I really want to play before that game comes out, because I got so invested and lost in Remake that I just know it's going to happen with Rebirth. I cannot wait. I'm glad they showed that till last. I had no idea that was going to be shown, and that was a surprise to me and a pleasant one. But yeah, well done, Jeff. Like I know a lot of people give you flack for, some events being better than others, but for what you've done, you're never going to see this, but I'll say it anyway. I put it out there because I know a lot of us share the same sentiment. For what you've been able to do in, capitalizing in some scenarios where you were able to build something the way you have and become the event, so to speak, like your video game awards, the Summer Game Fest, your Game of the Year and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, well done to you. It was great. Thanks for the showing. I'm looking forward to the Xbox event in a matter of hours. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, if you guys watched all the content that came out, all the reveals that came out, did I miss something here? Was there something that was revealed that you're excited about that I didn't mention? Tell me below and why. I'm looking forward to see what you guys say. I wasn't going to cover everything. It was just too much. You may as well just watch the bloody event rather than me rambling on. But yeah, awesome. I think I've pretty much covered what I really wanted just to catch up here with. Just a really easy one. Just to sit here and catch up with you guys and know that I still exist and I'm still here. And I just want to touch on some things that interested me recently, or that I've actually done recently of note. And we'll see what next week brings. Next week, I'm hoping to show you more of the Chunt core artwork completed and added to all my stuff. I'm really looking forward to using that. It's just fun. As far as I'm concerned, like the DC multiverse is a thing. So if I really wanted to, I could say that the Chunk core is in continuity with DC Comics. You know, I really could. You know, that's how the multiverse works, right? Right. Until I get a cease and desist, I don't know. I'm going to do it until then. I'm looking forward to show you all of that. Looking forward to showing you some of my actual comic book projects. Excuse me, that I've been working on. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time to create this stuff. And when you're working, 38, 40 hours, 40 plus hours a week, you don't have a lot of time to actually work on your own stuff outside of life stuff. So it's a slow burn, but just got to keep the train going, and eventually it'll come together. Cool. Awesome. All right. It's good to be back. Good to talk to you. I'm going to upload this now. I'm going to chill out with the wife for a bit. And if I do wake up in time for the Xbox thing, I might, we'll see. If I'm awake and coherent enough, I might look at streaming it. Who knows? But either way, it's good to be back. I hope to see you. Hopefully the algorithm shows this video to you that I'm here, and if I can make myself more consistent here, it might show you more. Anyway, wrapping up. Enjoy your Sunday evenings, or the afternoon or the morning that you're watching this. I'll be back next week, and might even upload some stuff during the week. You never know. I'm back now, so we'll take it from here. Awesome. All right, take it easy. I'm out. Enjoy.